Hello everyone, how are we doing? Hope all's well. Give me a moment. Let me see, that's walking. I have my milkshake here. I got a milkshake. So if you see me with something different, usually have tea or something, but it's a milkshake. So lovely weather, as you can see behind me. We're literally being blinded. I think that's a bit too loud. I think we're fine down now. So you know the usual. Just give me a second to sort things out. Um, Again, apologies for not putting it up too, that it was going to go live. I said it yesterday evening, but I didn't know what time I would go live at. Let me see. The sun is actually like it's reflecting off my screen into my face. Hello, Sean. Good evening. How are we doing? I have to try and not say crack. I had to try and get into the habit of not saying crack. The reason why, because when I go back to Finland, going around asking people how's the crack, any crack, might not be the best thing to do. Give me a moment, sorry, just loads of stuff here. Is everything good? You can hear me, you can see me and everything. Hello, Tony, good evening. Everything's fine. I think you can still see me and stuff. Because I'm tricking at the settings again. Like, I'm always tricking at something on the YouTube settings. I should probably just leave things alone instead of tricking at it. So yeah, how any crack with anybody? I know all about crack. We might just call this the crack channel. The crack den channel. Let me see. Where am I now? There we are. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not that bad. Like, geez, if I put the blind up anymore, like, I'm being blinded here. Like, I'm being blinded. Like, it's not that bad. Like, believe me, if I pull up the blind anymore, you definitely will be blinded. Because it is probably like it is reflecting back in my face from the screen, so I am being blinded. Like, I'm the one being blinded here. Like, I can barely see the comments because it's just like it's coming in and it's reflected off this and it's straight into my face. See, when the sun's this side, it's off a nuisance. But it's a good thing instead of having the light on. I think this, like, letting in natural light is good. Why is this not working now? I took it back. We're back. On the brain, yes, exactly. It's shedding some light. Sunny and warm, yeah. Sunny and warm. Supposed to be like this all this week too. Hopefully not too bad. Like, I wouldn't want it to be too warm. I don't mind a bit of sunshine, but as long as it's not too warm. Because what day was it? Wednesday last week I was being killed. Like, I don't know. I probably said this, but I was being killed Wednesday. In terms of just the heat. Like, the heat was up, and it was not that the sun and stuff was the heat. It was very, very hard to walk. Like, especially when you're out in it, for nearly 8 hours a day. It is very hot. Even though you have sun cream and stuff on you, but it is very warm, and that's why I felt. You probably remember the last stream Wednesday. I felt very dizzy and stuff because I was out in the heat all day. Because I probably did get heat. I don't know, heat exhaustion, would you call it? Because my brain felt very, I don't know, muddled. But I think it was just over. I was out in the heat too long. So as long as it's not too warm, if that makes sense. I don't mind a bit of sun and stuff, but you don't want to be like that again when you're drowsy and stuff. Let me see. So we do have a good few things to talk about. We just chat among ourselves for a few minutes and then we get started. So everybody looking forward to the bike holiday, because I think people forgot that this is a bike holiday this weekend. What I mean by that, Monday's a bike holiday, the 5th. I don't know, did people know that? Because there was one person I work with didn't know that. I was talking to him yesterday. I was like, oh, he said, I see you Monday. And I was like, oh, you won't see me Monday. And then that's how he found out. So he probably would have turned up to work Monday, taking those walk. Because there was only a bike. It wasn't a bike holiday this week. The week before that was a bike holiday. So not even 2 weeks ago. Yeah, there was another bike holiday. So that's why he couldn't believe that there was another one already. He thought I was having them on. Fair City. What do you mean, Fair City? What do you mean watching Fair City or performing in Fair City? I don't like last time I watched Fair City must be fucking I don't know 6-7 years ago. I'm not keeping up to date. The only thing I ever heard of Fair City is she cut back on producing the episodes because they don't have any money for it or nobody's watching it. And then the other thing is too they were trying to spread this far white rumor on Fair City. Yo, that's how I really hold in the last 6 years of Fair City. Like Fair City is irrelevant. It's just a waste of taxpayers' money. Speaking of OT and wasting taxpayers' money, I'm sure we all have heard about the IT system, the same as the Art Council. They couldn't implement like an IT system. They spent 3.6 million or something on it, and the IT system still doesn't work in OT. Isn't it great? All paid for by you and me. Isn't it lovely? Great stuff. Mighty stuff. It's almighty. I have my milkshake. Instead of tea now, I have milkshake. What today? Yeah, just about that. It's not being blinded, just making sure, because I'm leaning this way to stop the sun from blinding you. After I very consider it, and to stop myself from being blinded too. I suppose we get started in stuff. In stuff, that's lovely stuff. I still don't know who you're talking about, Tony. To be honest, I presume I'm supposed to know, but I don't know who it is. I'm afraid to tell you. So yeah, I'm sure people have seen the protests in Carrickmacross and in Letterkenny. Huge amount of people. I think in Carrickmacross was about 800-900. I'm not too sure about Letterkenny. I think they're saying it's about 1,000 or something in Letterkenny. I could be wrong, but that's what they're saying. In Fair City, or what do you mean? Or in some town? I don't know, Tony. To be totally honest with you. He's in some town. Hello, Trent. How are we doing? Good evening. He was out with Harry's daughter. Who is Harry's daughter? Like, is this from Fair City you're talking about, or is this in real life? Or was this just fantasy? Because generally, Tony, I haven't watched Fair City in about 6 years, so I couldn't tell you who's who. To be totally honest with you. Yeah, so in Carrickmacross, as I was just saying in Letterkenny, there was a protest against immigration. Yeah, as I say, huge numbers. For such small, Letterkenny is a big enough town. But Carrickmacross is a small place. So such big numbers to see come out and protest. Yeah, Wolsey Donna moved to Ireland. She's somewhere down in Limerick or somewhere down that way. Not up this direction of the country. The reason why I think she could move here because she has distant relations that are Irish. I know. I don't think I ever come across her. Well, I don't know much about the woman, to be totally honest. I know she's some kind of actor and stuff. I wouldn't really meet her. I don't know much about her, first of all. Like, she could generally walk by me in the street. I wouldn't know. To be, I've seen photos of her before, but I wouldn't be that aware of her, if that makes any sense. So she literally could go by me in the street now in the morning, and I wouldn't know her. Simple as that. Unless somebody told me this was her. You know, that's to be totally honest with you. Oh, did she have a show? Yeah. See, I never would watch them because I'm not an American, I'm an Irish person. I wouldn't watch American shows, if that makes any sense. Like, I know she acted in some movies and stuff. That's about it. I didn't even know she had a show. That just shows how much I knew about her. The only way I've seen her really is when she moved on. There was a lot of talk about it. Obviously, heard about it before, just randomly now and again. So that's that. But I think she's way down the country somewhere. Which Sony? Sorry, what? Oh, are you talking about Fair City still, or are you talking about something else? Like, you have to explain what you're talking about. You're talking about in real life, or you're talking about in Fair City, or what are you talking about? Sorry. Like, Tony's into the Fair City stuff nowadays. But yeah, so just going back to Carrick McCross and Letterkenny. It is very, and I suppose there's other protests planned, I think. There's another one planned in Dublin, I think, soon. And then there's a few somewhere else, I think. Just trying to figure, because I remember somebody saying something to me about it. There's going to be another protest somewhere. Don't know where that is, but yeah, it probably is going to be as big as Carrick McCross and Letterkenny in small towns. I mean, I don't know about when the Dublin one is, and there's apparently another one next month or something. Not that I'm aware too much of it. This is what I'm just hearing in the background, if that makes any sense. Not necessarily, not really necessarily, because don't think it'd be that hard, to be totally honest with you. I wouldn't know, but I wouldn't say it'd be that hard. As long as we have McDonald's, exactly. Sorry, I'm just doing a few things here. Sorry, I'm just reading through this here. So I'm just trying to sort things out here now. Where's this next thing I want to talk about? So apparently the biggest drum, I know this sounds weird, but the biggest drum that was ever made in Ireland has been made in County Cavan, just up in Milltown, about 20 minutes from here. Now I know that sounds the most weirdest thing I ever say. Like a drum you play, like it's a huge drum, something like 30 people can play it. I'll show you a picture of it now. If I can get it, that'd be great if I find the drum. You need to find the drum. I know such a thing to say. Um, I use with me in terms of a drum. Um, so yeah, this is the drum. Like it absolutely is huge. 30 people can play it. Like it absolutely is huge. So this is for a festival that's happening up in Milltown soon enough. Like it is like this picture doesn't do it justice. I've seen video of it. It's mad. Um, like some amount of work too must have went in to make this drum. Like this must have took them a few months because this is absolutely huge. Like humongous. 30 people can play it. Like imagine that. Lunacy. 30 people can play that drum. Imagine the amount of noise too if 30 people playing the drum constant. Yeah, it'd be insane. Such a thing. The biggest news: a loud drum was made in Cavan. Um, a loud drum. So Simon Howes was here yesterday in Cavan, the Tarnish. Just actually up the road, not too far away from here. I didn't even know he was here. I only knew about it afterwards. They kept it very quiet. So they're talking about new hospice care. They're talking about a 16-bed inpatient unit. Which it's told it's 14 million, but we all know it's going to be about 20 million. So yeah, nothing has been built yet. They're just turning the soil. So you know, but it's going to take another 900 years before they do anything about it. So we're all looking forward to hearing that loud drum. Loud drum, Jesus! Like it is. I wonder why they decided to do something like that. But it's still cool nonetheless. I don't mean to belittle their efforts. It's still very cool. Like it is really, really cool. I talked about McDonald's, yeah. Yeah, it's still my tea maker. You don't often see me here with it nowadays, unfortunately. It's too much hassle like to set it up here. If that makes any sense. It'd be different if I had a designated place here in the room to set it up. But it's just the fact that with the one up and down, getting milk, getting this, getting that. You get what I'm saying? It's just a bit too much hassle. And beforehand, we used to use the tablet. We used to use this to live stream, this tablet. Nowadays, we're using the computer, so it's a lot more difficult to try and angle it and do all that. So it's a lot more awkward if you were going to do it. Even if you were going to do it, it still would be a lot more awkward. If that makes any sense. Don't know if that makes any logical any sense at all. So someday, if we ever do up the room, hopefully, because again, the man is supposed to come to paint this wall for the last 600 years, and he still hasn't come, even though he's paid now. But he's just very busy. Like that's I shouldn't have probably got him in the first place. Like he's a good patron and stuff like that, but he's that much work, It takes him 900 years to do anything. Oh, like paint the wall behind me, paint the whole room. So whenever that happens, because obviously everything in the room has to be taken out, and then obviously then we can put things back together and all that. So I just wanted to talk about this. An elderly couple in Monaghan in their 90s, the two of them in their 90s, now 98 days without a landline. So this is after the Storm one. And they're still without a landline. 98 days, nearly 100 days later, they're still without a landline. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's crazy to take. And, not a peep about it. And it's nearly 100, like it is 100 days now, pretty much. But it's insane. So I don't know what's the story there. Like, I heard about this before. I don't foresee how we could have took all this time to do. You know. Um, oh, you mean Katy Perry or whoever that was? Yeah, them celebrities. I don't even know what you count. They just kind of went up and they came back down again. I don't know what to say to you, but you know. No, I'm just looking for stuff here because there's stuff I meant to talk about. Great stuff. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out what I'm going from here. There's actually not that much. Like, just looking through my list, there isn't that much actually to talk about tonight. Like, we already talked about Cowboy Cross and the protests. There's 100 million other things we could talk about, like small local things. But the majority of these things, actually, funny enough, I haven't talked about for the last 6 months. What I mean by that is they've been pretty much left aside and I haven't talked about it. Hello, Devion, how are we doing? I suppose we go to Finland for a second. Why not? Because there's actually not that much happening at the moment. Like recently, like in the recent week, there's not that much been happening, which is a good thing. Usually I'm here and you never shut me up. But there's actually not that much going on, apart from the few things I've outlined. There isn't that much going on in the country. And in Cavan alone, too. It's been very quiet. It's more things from a few weeks ago, nearly, at this stage, I'm talking about. How are we doing anyway, everyone? I hope we're well. Hope you're enjoying the sunshine. I hope the sun's not blinding everyone. So we've probably seen this. The Health Minister's assistant, the Minister for Health, pretty much, came out with this, and this went down very well. Basically, people who are on social protection in Finland, a lot of them too have lost their businesses because the sitters came along, and also obviously it's the true Finns. Like, who else could it be? People who on like receipt of social benefits are losers who deserve poverty. Like, this went down very well. Like, it just goes to show you the nerves with the true Finns. That like it is extremely tone deaf. Considering that this year the government has pushed 100,000 people into poverty, in Finland, Finnish people, like not foreigners, went out, but Finnish people, and these are supposed to be true Finns, looking after the Finns. And a lot of these people, as I say, lost their businesses, lost their job because we could decided to run around with sitters. Um, you know, so it's extremely tone deaf. It is tone deaf beyond belief. But it just goes to show you the attitude of them. Like, like this is like they already set themselves on fire, and the Toma to set themselves again on fire. Also, this still continues. Basically, the whole country's blowing up. Oh, I don't know. So basically, hundreds of thousands of people now. Well, not hundreds of thousands, because the other flights, you have to remember a few weeks ago, they stopped over 1,000 flights throughout the summer. And now there's 140 flights gone because of industrial action due to the cuts of the 12,000. Like every other day, there's strikes in Finland at this stage. This either this strike, the other strike. It's all going very well. So this is great stuff. But especially this, this went down like a pile of bricks. Great stuff. So if you're in poverty now, just to say, you deserve it. Great stuff. And then you call people losers. Great things. Mighty stuff. We should do that over here. I suppose we just chill. There's a few more things we could talk about. But nothing really too urgent. Like, it's a good thing, I suppose, to say there's nothing really too urgent to talk about. Oh, sorry, excuse me. Sorry, I beg my pardon. I spread misinformation there. So this year alone, Finnair, like the national airline of Finland, has cancelled 1,800 flights, along with the few that's cancelled today. So nearly 2,000 flights cancelled within a year. Mighty stuff. Mighty stuff. Oh, Mayo Day. It's Mayo Day. Oh, fuck this. Mayo Day. Oh, no. They stole it from Cavan Day. This is heinous stuff. Heinous stuff. Do you remember Cavan Day and stuff like that? Do you remember we did that a few years ago and we trended #1 in Ireland? So Mayo is apparently having its own thing. So obviously they copied Cavan, just to say. Yeah, so this is all say, but yes. But yeah, no, it's I suppose good luck to Mayo on it. I suppose they seem to be doing well because it's trending in Ireland, so they're doing well. Yeah, so there isn't that actually much to talk about tonight. Actually, no, there's actually one thing. There's actually another thing I just wanted to mention. Let me just find it now. Sorry, it's about finding this thing. And it was to do with Leicester House. Let's see. Try and find this now. See, I have to go looking for it. Where the fuck is it now? Oh, here we are. Now, this sounds like something out of a sketch, I suppose. But this actually is real. I didn't believe it when I first seen it, but it actually is real. I'll show you now what I'm talking about. Yeah, they'll be soon off on the summer holidays, but it's not that. It's not that. Hold on a second. You probably won't believe me, but it's actually. So you read this yourself here, and this is actually from the Irish Mirror. Like it's actually from the mainstream media in Ireland. Just read this, and come back to me. So they spent €250,000. Uh, I don't know how they managed to spend nearly 300,000. No, 25,000. Maybe 30,000 on this. Um, and you probably wonder what they're talking about. It's these yolks. Whatever them, like the kind of moths or whatever you call them. Yeah, the moths kind of. Yeah. Yeah, so there you go. Our taxpayer money has been spent well. 25,000 for this. Like this is actually serious. This is not a skit. This is actually an actual real thing. So there you go. Great stuff. Money well spent. Logic, of course, too. But yeah, no, the weirdest thing ever. The like, I don't know who sat there in Leinster House and came up with this idea, and said let's spend 250. Let's spend 25,000 euro on it. Doesn't make any sense. But sure, who knows what kind of drugs they're on. Yeah, it's like they tried to. You went it there yourself. Okay? I'm not even going to try and utter what they what kind of mess, like what they were trying to do. But it's a weird thing to do. Like, would you not try and get rid of the moths instead of doing that kind of crack? Like, it doesn't make much sense to me. But what do I know? I suppose. The government knows best. So the other thing I suppose we could talk about, not relating to Ireland, but that's to do with the local elections that were in the UK. I don't know if anybody was paying attention to that. That happened in the local elections and some mayoral elections. Then the eggs, yeah, that too. So the Reform Party, Nigel Farage's party, did really really well. They bet the Labour Party pretty much and the Conservative Party, but the Conservative Party's dying anyway. Like the Conservative Party won't exist within the next 20 years. They're just gone. The Conservative Party's just finished and done with. Dead and buried, if you may use that term. Yeah, they probably only sat for about 30 days, But you look at it, that's what you expect. It's hard work sitting in Dáil Éireann, they need breaks. They're working hard, they're working far too hard. But, yeah. So the Reform Party did very well. So most likely they're probably going to be the next government of the United Kingdom. I know that sounds like a bit of an understatement, but the way they're going, they probably will be the next government of the UK. And that's actually, it's a good thing in a way, and it's a bad thing in a way. And I'll explain why. So there's two sides to this in the Irish perspective, for the Irish people's perspective. First of all, Reform UK, Nigel Farage and a lot of them, their idea to do with the immigration problem in the United Kingdom, people turned up in small boats, throw them into Ireland, send them to Ireland. So if they get into government, what they're going to do is just push all the immigrants into Ireland, which is going to turn out very well, I'm sure. But that's what they've said before. Let's send all the immigrants to Ireland. So we're not going to win if Reform wins the general election, say in a few years' time in the UK. They're going to send them all here. And obviously the Labour Party's not much better. The Conservative Party's not much better. Nobody's any good in the UK, Peter Lindsay. Yeah, the Conservative Party has only put themselves to blame. But yeah, they won't exist now within the next 20 years. They'll be lucky to exist. Like, they basically lost nearly all their council seats. But I'm not that a big fan of Reform UK, to be totally honest. Because as the reason I just stated there, because they're going to throw all the immigrants into Ireland. And obviously that doesn't solve anything, just sending them over to another country, you know. Because that's what they said last year, before the general election. Um, so I don't know. Some people would disagree with that. Some people would agree. But pretty much it's a double-edged sword on both sides. The Labour Party not much addition either in the UK, as we've seen with the current climate. You know, if you post something about like your local councillor, the police end up coming to your door. You know, it's insane. Like it's not North Korea, just to say. It's the UK. If you post something about your local Tory, like your local Labour councillor, they'll end up coming to your house and arresting you for thought crime. Lovely stuff. Oh yeah, so yeah, we talked about this yesterday too. I suppose the biggest gaming news probably of this year. GTA 6 has been delayed. I know some people probably won't give a shit, but GTA 6 has been delayed into next year. So Shocko, I don't think we're going to play GTA 6 on the channel. I know every other YouTube in the country is going to do it, but I don't think we'll do it. No, I don't think we'll bother streaming GTA 6 on YouTube. I say a lot of people think I'm mad saying that, but we probably won't because there'll be too many people streaming it. And, you know, oh, I'll just, you know, relax, I suppose. Because everybody would be like a rat waste, pretty much. So yeah, so I think that's probably it for tonight. To be totally honest, not really much else to say. It's actually quite like beforehand. You never shut me up because there was that much to talk about, but there's actually not that much going on. I know that it's a kind of good or bad thing. It's good to have a quiet time. So yeah, I think we'll probably call it there for tonight. I know it's a short stream; it wasn't a long stream, but there isn't actually that much going on. We talked about nearly everything. That's pretty much the main thing going on at the moment. Like everybody seems to be just enjoying the weather, and there's not much news to talk about. So that's a good or a bad thing. But anyway, I think we might leave it there or not. We just turn this off. So yeah, there's nothing really else that I can think of. But yeah, we'll not be starting. I know somebody asked me the question the other day. We'll not be starting any games yet. There's a few games we have to do. We'll not start them this week. We're finished with My Summer Drive. We'll probably start another game soon. Oh yeah, we were just talking about that at the beginning of the stream. But I've said this 100 times. Like if a community doesn't want people in their community, that should be accepted. As simple as that. So I believe the people are right. If people don't want these, like if we see the numbers in Carrickmacquarie State, for example, huge amount of people come out. And it seems the majority of the town are the same opinion that they don't want these direct provision centres in their town. And same with Letterkenny we've seen today. But it seems like people are sick and tired of it, and I suppose rightly so, because there's a lot of money being made by people because of it. Like that's a whole different topic, but I've talked about it hundreds of times. But yeah, so pretty much, if people don't want them in their towns, I don't have an issue with them. Obviously, of course, they have to be peaceful protests, so they can't be just breaking the place down and stuff like that. But basically, that's your question. I agree with a lot of the protests. To be totally honest with you, because the government are just simply not listening to people. Like take for example in Cavan, there's many instances I can point out that people went to their TDs, wanting information. Is this place going to be turned into a direct provision centre? And their TDs wouldn't answer them. They wouldn't tell them they were going to turn them. And then in the middle of the night, they'd be bust in, without telling anybody. They just turn up. And then when you ring your TD or councillor, they tell you, oh, no, we don't know any information. We won't tell you anything. You can't really have that. You can't really have that carry on. In any country, like in any sane country, you can't just have that carry on. People just turning up, And I think that's reasonable. I think that's reasonable, people. Because it's not being fair to people. It's not being fair to these communities too. And not only that, there's another side to it too. The resources in terms of systems in the country are not working as it is compared to putting more people into towns. Like take for example in Cavan, majority of towns years ago there would have been loads of doctors, right? There could have been 10 doctors in the town. Nowadays there's maybe only 2 GPs compared to maybe years ago there was 10. In big towns in Cavan there used to be maybe 10 doctors. Now there's only 2. So there's, say for a population of argument's sake, 3,000. There's only 2 doctors for them 3,000 people. Then you add in, say, for example, the government has a good idea to add in, another 400 into the town, direct provision, take for example. And there's no new doctors. There's going to be pressure put on the doctors to hit the health system in that area because there's no new resources, along with other stuff. Transport. We can go with schools too. Like the schools in Cavan too, they can't get teachers. They can't get teachers to teach. They have no teachers. All of them are leaving. Like there's many angles to it. You get me saying there's a whole, like basically all of society is breaking down. And we're taking in far too many people. We're only a small country. And we're taking in a huge amount of people, probably over 300,000 or 400,000, probably 10% of the Irish population. Like if you add it all up, it's an insane amount of people when you really, really think about it. And it's about fairness too, because it's not fair on local people having to be put aside when hundreds of thousands of people come in. And a lot of these, as you see, a lot of people come into Dublin without passports. It's the basic thing for any country. Like I'm going on holiday soon. I'm going to have my passport and stuff like that. I'm not going to jump into the country illegally or into that. And I'm going to show my passport to the Finnish authorities, take for example, when I turn up on the plane. I'm not going to say to the Finnish authorities, oh, I don't have my passport and stuff like that. You can't do that. Like if you're going to somebody's country, if you're going to stay, if you're going to seek asylum in anybody's country too, you should be fair, straight up and fair with them. There's many other things that we could argue to the cows come home, but I hope that answers your question. There's loads of sides that we could look at from each side. But that's just my opinion. I made hundreds of videos talking about it. But in retrospect too, I do agree with the vast majority of them. Oh yeah, it's long, so you see soon. Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah, as a person that's went to college, etc., etc. Well, if you contribute to the country and you came in illegally, if you came in a legal way, like you came through the airport, you had a passport and stuff, I don't see a problem with you. And if you have your house and you're paying your rent and stuff like that, we don't mind you. Basically, what I'm trying to say, and the majority of people don't have an issue with you, of course, because you have a job and you're contributing to society. I'm saying about the people coming in who have criminal records, even just the only asylum seekers and stuff. Like you have to admit yourself too. Like the country has a lot of taking out, and it's a huge amount of money. It's about, I think it's 3 or 4 million a day. Like think about that, 3 or 4 million a day for people like to look after people. So it's a huge amount of money, and especially you look at the services. I'm sure if you look around you, everything's breaking down. The whole system's breaking to bits, and adding more people onto that's not making any, not helping the situation. If that makes any sense. Like I don't have any issue with you, but as long as you came in the legal way and stuff like that, and you don't cause any trouble into that, and you're contributed and you're paying your bills, we have no issue, pretty much. I have no issue with it. Some other people would have an issue with you, but I don't have any issue with you. Yeah, that's really all I would add. Yeah, that's all I would add to that. Yeah, like as long as you don't have a good, like the main thing for me is as long as you came in with your passport and stuff, and you showed the Irish customs and the Irish authorities, uh, and you came in the legal way, you show, I don't really have an issue with you. But of course, we can't just open the floodgates. That's the point too. We can't just open the floodgates and let everybody in. If that makes any sense, because we're seeing at the moment in Ireland too, there's towns being outnumbered by non-Irish people. If that makes any sense, and it sounds racist of how it may be, but it's the truth. If it was in Afghanistan, if it was in if it was in Iran or Iraq, take example, and if 100 Irish people turned up in the middle of the night, and said, "This is my home now. I'm going to stay here." I'm sure they wouldn't be too fond of 100 Irish people turning up and saying, "Yeah, this is my town now." We can't have that. Like, if that makes any sense. But I don't have any issue with you. But as long as you're working and stuff like that and contributing, I don't mind. And as long as you're behaving and stuff, not whether you would have any issue, pretty much. I've said it many times, I don't really have any issue. But at the same time, as I say, I'm sure you understand and I'm sure you can agree, we can't just let the floodgates open. We have to let in people who are, I know about that one. This is the thing about this one. I don't know about Conor McGregor. I don't know. We talk about it a lot more. Like if you stay around for a few more months, we'll be talking a huge amount about it in less than a few months' time, because then obviously we know who's come for the presidency. But we'll see. I want to see who's the candidate first. I can't just say I'm going to vote for this person without seeing the other candidates, because I would look at what they're saying, and then we go from there. If that makes any sense. So it's still a few months out. We don't know all the candidates. We don't know who's going. So give me a few weeks, a few months anyway, and then we'll be able to look at it and say, yes, this candidate's talking about this, or this candidate's doing this, or that other candidate's doing that. But if that makes any sense, so I'm not going to drop the gun yet on who I'm going to vote for. Let's check. So we should see, because again, literally, isn't the presidential election the end? What date is it actually in November? So less than probably 6 months' time, yeah. The presidential election is. But I don't know. There's many things about Conor McGregor. Like, he's right in what he says in a lot of stuff. But at the same time, too, he's criminal history. I'm looking at his criminal history. And, I'm not that happy with it, pretty much, to be totally honest with you. Particularly because not to mention his case with the woman at the moment. And not to mention then he punched the man before, an elderly man. So I'm keeping that firmly in my mind too. So that's going to be something that weighs very heavily on my mind. So I'll be thinking about that before. I'll be taking that into account. But I don't know. I see if there is a candidate, etc. Because I don't know all the candidates. You get what I'm saying? So the only person really that said they're really going for the presidency is Conor McGregor, pretty much. We don't know who else is going. Like, the other parties haven't put, say, for example, Bertie Ahern. I'm not likely to vote for Bertie Ahern, but take for argument's sake, we don't know everybody who's going to put the vote. Yeah, but Elon Buck, you have to remember there's a lot of things to the presidency. You can't just kind of turn up. You have to get the backing of local authorities, and the backing of TDs and stuff. It's insane amount of stuff you need to do. It's not like you just turn up and become the president. There's a lot of tricking about to get to it. If that makes any sense, there's a lot of answers to it. But before the election, the presidential election, we talk a lot about it. You'll be sick of listening to me. But the presidency in Ireland, just to say, um, doesn't have much power. It doesn't have much power at all. And I don't think Conor McGregor understands that the Irish Constitution says it very clearly that the president has no political power, and the Constitution says it very clearly that the separation of powers and the majority of the powers come from Dáil Éireann and Shannon Éireann. The presidency only really is signing off on legislation, like the Constitution, making sure it's constitutional vote, like a legal constitutional. Um, so that's really all the presidency can do, and obviously the Supreme Court sending legislation to the Supreme Court if he deems it unconstitutional, whoever, But I don't think he understands it. Like, it's not like the presidency of the United States where you can make political decisions. Like the presidency is very little political power. And like the vote over Ryanair, the CEO of Ryanair, he said it's the most useless job in the country. Because you really can't make much. Like the Irish Constitution says it's very clear on the powers of the presidency, and it's very limited. Like, of course, you're the commander-in-chief of the army, but in reality, you don't have any really say on the day-to-day one in the army. Obviously, you have a say, you have a voice, you have your chief of staff, etc., swears an oath of loyalty to you as Uachtar on the Heron, the president of Ireland. But still, at the end of the day, you can't say to the army, I want you to do this or do that after the other. It's the Ministry of Defence, it's the Minister of Defence who has to say in what the army does, It's to say, like the Constitution says, the president's the head of state in terms of represents the state abroad, etc., etc. We've seen at the Pope's funeral. Michael Higgins was the fourth one of Ireland's face, like in terms of mourning the Pope. So apart from that, there's not really much things else the presidency can do. The other thing they can do is the state council. They convene the state council in terms of legislation, but that's about it. Like former Taoiseachs and other stuff. Dual presidency, no, there's no such thing in Ireland. Either you're the president or you're not. There's no dual presidency. But we will talk about the presidency. Like, you should be sick of listening to me in a few months' time, talking about the presidency. Like, first of all, I don't think the presidential election should be every 7 years. It should be every 5 years. It shouldn't be 7 years. 7 years is far too long for the presidential. That's far too long, 7 years. But that's the only reason why it's 7 years. Is because it takes, like the presidency basically has no power. So why would you have an election every 5 minutes, But it's far too long. Every 7 years is far too long. Hello, Greenface. How are we doing? Good evening. There's a lot more I could say. Jesus, hello, everyone. As soon as we were about to go, everybody turns up. Time flies, yes. Yeah, it's about that. It could be a bit. We could have probably named a few live streams. It's probably on 155, but it's about that. But we probably will do a vote sooner or later in renaming the live stream to a different thing if people want to. We're not doing it yet. We're waiting until we get probably near to 200 and we'll see about it. How does that sound? But that's still a good bit away. We're another 50 away or so. Hello, Yusuf. Everybody's turning up now. Like, as soon as I was about to go, it's nice to, we'll see. We'll do it democratically, obviously. We'll have a vote and we'll see what people take. Whenever that, it's not now, just to say. It's another 50 episodes away. But we do it and we see what people take. It's up to the people what they take. If that makes any sense. Well, it's a good while away yet, so. What do you mean, Greenface? That's high treason. Excuse me, that's high treason. We have to send for the guards. That's cope. That's generally cope. Who is she though? She's Lai Anderson. The Left Alliance. She's an MEP. She's one of the highest MEPs in the European Union. But she was the Minister of Defence under Sanna Marin's government. The Left Alliance is a more extreme party, than the Social Democratic Party. Like the Left Alliance don't believe in deportations and stuff. They like people before profit, pretty much. So yeah, lie on. I could show you here, but what's the specific title? She's chairman of something in the European Parliament. Yeah, some like big, huge chair of some parliament. The hell with all. But no, she's actually probably more radical than Sanna Marin in terms of that. Like she didn't argue much with Sanna Marin when she was the prime minister, but she disagreed with Sanna Marin building the border fence between Russia and Finland to let people flee in from. Like she disagreed with the Finnish governments, like Sanna Marin at the time, that they should build a border fence to stop illegal immigrants coming into Finland from Russia. So pretty much she just wanted everybody to come in from Russia, pretty much too. And a lot of them were from Afghanistan. The Russian government were bringing them up from Afghanistan and putting them on the Finnish border to try and overwhelm Finland. But still, nonetheless, she's not the worst person, I understand. Like, she's right in a lot of stuff she says about the current Finnish government. But it's high treason that she said such a thing too, about the woman behind me. I'm only joking now, but yeah. But I'll show you now. But it's like she got. I don't know if you remember when I was over in Finland. I don't. Were you around that time last year? Because she got a lot of votes. Like she got a lot of votes in the European election, but it was a huge anti-government vote. She got 250,000 forced preference votes, like nearly 500,000 forced preference votes, just to say. Yes, you remember now. Like when I was over, the European election was, and she got 250,000. Like it was a huge anti-government vote. But she was right in a lot of stuff she said in the European election. Like I do agree with her. I don't agree with her on immigration, of course, and stuff like that. But I do agree with her that she's right, that this is the worst Finnish government that ever we've seen. And she was right, I suppose, in supporting Sanna Marin as the prime minister back then. But I don't agree with her on everything, if that makes sense. Sanna Marin, I more agree with her. Because Sanna Marin said it before too, that immigration, like that deportations are essential for countries. So, but yeah, this is Lai Anderson, the leader. She was the former leader of the Left Alliance. This used to be the old Communist Party of Finland. I'm just trying to explain. So this used to be, it's only in the 1990s when the Soviet Union fell. So this was the old Finnish, pretty much workers' party. But that's what it is. I'm just trying to see the office. Like, she is in the European Parliament. Like, she's a big, high office in the European Parliament. Yeah, it was there we are. The 9th of June. That's when I was over there last year. 247,000 post-referendum votes. Like, it was insane. Like, I don't think that's ever happened here for the European Parliament, that somebody got 247,000 votes. It's insane. And of course, she ran for the presidency the year before that too. It didn't do that great, but yeah. I think Fiona asked me a second ago. Yeah, she did very well. Not really. Like, not really. You have to remember, everyone, not many. It's like even Sanna Marin herself, the woman behind me. She was never too fond of the NATO, before she became prime minister and stuff. Like, not really any part. Like, the Left Alliance too were very anti-NATO. So it took a lot to convince Lai Anderson probably to agree with Finland joining NATO at the time. Because you have to remember, even the Finns party, like the true Finns, were against joining NATO until Russia went in on Ukraine. Like every party in the Finnish parliament, actually, no, scratch that. Every party, even the National Coalition Party, all of them were against joining NATO before Russia went in on Ukraine. So quite literally, everybody was against joining NATO. All the parties had it in their manifesto to keep Finnish neutrality, and that all went out the window when Russia went in to Ukraine. So that's what, that only for when that happened, you know. Yeah. Hello, Brian. Yeah, it's you upset about GTA 6. What were you saying? You were saying something, Fiona. I missed your comment. I once said, I remember reading it and then I couldn't remember. Are they friends, Lie Anderson Cinema? Yeah, of course they are. The best of friends. Think about which what? Sorry, what? Sorry, I'm yapping about too much. But yeah, just know, but all the parties in Finland were like literally had it in their manifesto not to join NATO. It was only when Russia went into Ukraine that changed pretty much. You know, that's a. So it was an interesting thing to see because literally every party was against it. Until it happened, like Ukraine happened, that's when that changed. No, Finland's not full of anybody. It's too cold. As one person said to me over there, it's too cold for people like from Africa and stuff. It's far too cold. It's, you know, half the time it's dark and, you know, dark and miserable and stuff, snow and stuff. There's a few. There's obviously a few, but there's not. It's more. There's more here in this country than in Finland. Which on Black Ops 1, you probably did back in the day. Yeah, it's a long time ago, but I say I probably did. I can't remember, but I say I did. I used to play all the Call of Duty zombies maps on every game, like the old-fashioned Call of Duties. Yeah, but Finland's actually more colder than Sweden, though. It actually is more colder, and it's a more harsher climate. That's why there's more people in Sweden than in Finland. It's a very, very harsh climate in Finland. Like it's really, really harsh compared to Sweden. Like Sweden is not that bad compared to Finland. Like the sun doesn't come up in some parts of Finland at all during the winter. And not only that, too, if there was a war in the morning, in Sweden they don't have it, but in Finland they do. All men must serve in the military. If you're a Western in Finland, you must serve in the Finnish army, and you could be sent to war and stuff like that. So they're not really that fond of the idea of going and fighting the Russians and stuff like that. So that too. Yeah, like it's pretty much the same, but that's way up in Norway. Yeah, I know where you're talking about in Norway. Yes, but yeah, it's up that part of the country. Yeah, but see, this even Norway has more people nearly than Finland, but Finland's very, very harsh climate. Yeah, there's bears and wolves. Yeah, there was somebody attacked by a bear in Finland the day. Like funny you say that, Brian. Like there was a poll done in Finland, and a lot of people said they would rather Sanna Marin as prime minister if there was a war than the Cohen Finnish government. You know, because they were saying who would be a better leader during wartime, and everybody said Sanna Marin because the Cohen prime minister, you know, couldn't do anything, and not to mention Weaker too. You know, but then again, Weaker is the greatest weapon of mass destruction. You know, you just send her out with the sitters and let her fighting the Russians away. You know, like having a big pair of sitters, you know, just ready to go. But yeah, a lot of people did say Sanna Marin would be a better wartime leader than the Cohen Finnish government, which I don't think could be hard. Because as you've seen there, they're kind of blowing themselves up again. But I don't know if you've seen this, the video that I shared on my community post, but yeah, I don't think there'll ever be a war in Finland for a long time to come. There's more likely to be war in Ireland than in Finland. I don't think the Russians fancy loads of bunkers and nuclear bunkers and all that. There's a long story. If you didn't see the video I shared on the community post, you wouldn't get what I'm saying. So yeah, first time ever probably you see me like having a milkshake on the stream. So so here I'm just looking something up here. Let me see. No, but Finland is a very, very harsh climate. Trump for Pope. Yeah, I've seen his thing on Truth Social. No, on Twitter, sorry, not Truth Social. But to be totally honest, I think it's a bit of a mockery of Catholics. Donald Trump doing that kind of thing. You know. Who, me? Are you talking about me or who are you talking to? Do I look like I'm from Galway? I would have a Galway girl with me if I was from Galway. But yeah, we probably might leave it there for tonight unless it's anything else. Because we're just about to go and then everybody came in to ask me 105 questions. So unless there's anything else to address for tonight, we probably maybe leave it out. What did I hit then? So is there anything else just before we go? Because yeah, we were kind of finishing up, and then everybody turned up and then asked 110 things. Hello, Jason. How are we doing? Good evening. Hope we're well. So yeah, I think we'll probably call it there for tonight. I know Jason just turned up, but anyway, thank you everyone. I appreciate you. Enjoy your bike holiday. We'll probably be back Wednesday. Hopefully, all going well, of course. There'll probably be a few videos up. So within the next few days, probably. So right in a new house, Ikigo, of course. But anyway, thank you everyone. Enjoy the rest of the evening, and I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.